Discovering Columbus. Introduction to Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus, born in Genoa, Italy, in 1451, was destined to become one of history's most renowned explorers. His upbringing in a modest family instilled in him a fascination with the sea and maritime trade. From an early age, Columbus accompanied his father, a war merchant and sailor, on voyages across the Mediterranean. These journeys ignited Columbus's curiosity about the world beyond the familiar shores of Europe. Despite limited formal education, Columbus displayed an insatiable thirst for knowledge, especially in matters of navigation and geography. He eagerly absorbed lessons from experienced sailors and cartographers, honing his skills in navigation, map-making, and celestial observation. Columbus's apprenticeship with his father provided him with practical maritime experience, preparing him for the ambitious adventures that lay ahead. Columbus's greatest ambition was to find a direct sea route to Asia, bypassing the perilous overland trade routes dominated by rival powers. Inspired by tales of Marco Polo's travels and the riches of the East, Columbus envisioned a westward voyage across the Atlantic Ocean as the key to unlocking new opportunities for trade and exploration. The journey begins. Securing funding. Columbus's audacious plan to reach Asia by sailing westward faced considerable skepticism from European monarchs, who doubted the feasibility of such a daring voyage. Undeterred by initial setbacks, Columbus tirelessly sought support for his expedition, approaching various rulers and financiers with his bold proposal. After years of rejection, Columbus found a receptive audience in King Ferdinand II of Aragon and Queen Isabella I of Castile, whose recent victory in the Reconquista had united Spain under a single crown. Recognizing the potential rewards of Columbus's venture, the Spanish monarchs agreed to finance the expedition, eager to expand their influence and enrich their coffers with the treasures of the East. Setting sail. With funding secured, Columbus set about preparing for his historic voyage. He assembled a crew of skilled sailors, recruited from diverse backgrounds, and procured 3 ships for the journey: the Santa Maria, the Pinta, and the Nina. Each vessel was meticulously outfitted with provisions, navigational instruments, and supplies for the long journey ahead. On the morning of August 3, 1492, a crowd gathered at the port of Palos de la Frontera to witness the departure of Columbus's expedition. Amid prayers and well-wishes, the crew set sail into the unknown, their hearts buoyed by the promise of adventure and discovery. As the ships disappeared over the horizon, the fate of Columbus and his crew hung in the balance, their destiny intertwined with the currents of history. The New World. Landfall in the Caribbean. The journey across the Atlantic Ocean was fraught with peril, as Columbus and his crew braved treacherous seas, unpredictable weather, and the specter of mutiny. Weeks turned into months as the ships pressed ever westward, their supplies dwindling and morale waning with each passing day. Finally, on the morning of October 12, 1492, lookout Rodrigo de Triana spotted land on the horizon, a sight that would change the course of history. With hearts pounding and anticipation mounting, the crew approached the shores of an unknown land, their eyes alight with wonder and curiosity. Stepping ashore, Columbus claimed the newfound land in the name of the Spanish crown, believing himself to have reached the fabled shores of Asia. Little did he know that he had stumbled upon an entirely new continent, a landmass previously unknown to Europeans and destined to alter the course of human civilization. Encounters with indigenous peoples. As Columbus explored the Caribbean islands, he encountered the indigenous Taino people, who inhabited the lush landscapes of the region. Initially viewing them as potential allies and trading partners, Columbus sought to establish friendly relations with the native population, hoping to secure their assistance in his quest for gold and spices. However, cultural misunderstandings and clashes of interest soon led to tensions between the Europeans and the indigenous peoples. Despite Columbus's efforts to maintain peace, conflicts arose over issues of land, resources, and sovereignty, resulting in violence and bloodshed on both sides. The arrival of the Europeans also brought unintended consequences for the native populations, including the spread of disease, forced labor, and cultural upheaval. The Taino people, unaccustomed to the diseases carried by the Europeans, suffered devastating losses as epidemics ravaged their communities, decimating their numbers and irrevocably altering their way of life. Legacy and controversy. Return to Europe. Columbus's voyages to the Americas sparked a wave of excitement and speculation across Europe, as news of his discoveries spread like wildfire. With each subsequent voyage, Columbus explored new territories and encountered new peoples, further expanding European knowledge of the world and paving the way for future explorers. Upon his return to Europe, Columbus was hailed as a hero, celebrated for his daring exploits and hailed as the bearer of untold riches from the New World. The Spanish crown showered Columbus with honors and rewards, granting him titles, lands, and a share of the profits from his expeditions. Yet, amidst the adulation and acclaim, whispers of dissent began to emerge, as reports of Columbus's treatment of the indigenous peoples reached the ears of European intellectuals and humanists. Questions were raised about the morality and ethics of Columbus's actions, prompting a reassessment of his legacy and his place in history. Legacy and controversy. In the centuries that followed, Christopher Columbus became a symbol of exploration and discovery, revered for his role in bridging the Old World and the New World. His voyages opened up new horizons for European civilization, facilitating the exchange of goods, ideas, and cultures across the Atlantic Ocean. However, as the full extent of the consequences of Columbus's voyages became apparent, a more critical appraisal of his legacy began to emerge. Historians and scholars re-examined Columbus's actions in light of their impact on indigenous peoples, highlighting the atrocities committed in the name of conquest and colonization. The celebration of Columbus Day, once a cherished tradition in many countries, became increasingly contentious as indigenous activists and their allies called attention to the darker chapters of Columbus's legacy. Debates raged over whether Columbus should be remembered as a hero or a villain, a pioneer of exploration or a perpetrator of genocide. Reflections on discovery. As we reflect on the legacy of Christopher Columbus, we are confronted with a complex and multifaceted figure whose achievements are inseparable from his flaws. Columbus's voyages expanded the boundaries of human knowledge and reshaped the course of world history, yet they also unleashed a cascade of unintended consequences that continue to reverberate to this day. In commemorating Columbus's voyages, we must strive for a more inclusive and nuanced understanding of history, one that acknowledges the contributions and sacrifices of all peoples who have shaped our shared world. By confronting the uncomfortable truths of the past and engaging in dialogue with diverse perspectives, we can move towards a more just and equitable future for all. As we bid farewell to Christopher Columbus, let us not forget the lessons of his legacy, lessons of exploration and discovery, but also of humility and compassion. May his story serve as a reminder of the complexities of history and the enduring power of human resilience and ingenuity in the face of adversity.